Morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I'll be behind in schedule. Hope everybody's having a great and a wonderful day. So we're gonna do this week. What's going on this week up in the news? All right. So. Alright, morning everybody, here we go. So we're going to talk about what's going on this week. Tustin, here we go. So basically today is June 8th. And for last week in Tustin, between this week, basically we've noticed that there is an increase of activity. And when there's an increase of activity, it becomes chances of some of these activities to start going out of hand, which I still don't understand why. Why do you want to go over it? The reason why these limits are placed is not to hurt anybody, not to go over reacting, and basically most of all just standard behavior. So other than that, though, we're gonna go ahead and start from here. For this week, looks like there is a LIT support for 365, which opened up a new production offices in Tustin. So look out for that. Also, this week, what's happening is pet adoption in Orange County area. Basically, they're starting to have more pets that are available. So anyone that's looking to basically adopt, go ahead and check that out. It's in Orange County. It definitely has. These people almost hit each other. It's crazy. Things just happen. Just out of nowhere. It's scary. Anyways, long story short, next thing that's coming up in Tustin is basically there's a fish grill restaurant that's basically trending in the local news at the moment. I would check that out. That is being presented by newswire.net. And then also, an LED magazine talks about the Bluetooth mesh scales for lighting and control showcase. Go ahead and check that out. Also, it mentions here in loving memory, someone did pass away yesterday, and we give our condolences to the family and for everybody else that's around. Basically, also looks like innovation in education, hopefully it's getting better and stronger in the OC, which is being reported by Patch. Patch usually gets news from other news outlets, so that's basically like us. Talked about it again. Now OC is trying to increase innovation with education. Within its education, that's really good. Whoa, we're about to hit each other. That is crazy. What is going on with these people? That's two separate thinking minds almost hit each other. It's just that when you don't have full focus, mostly the blind spot. The blind spots is when you have to look over your shoulder before you even react. Like, you know it's clear by the two mirrors, but you have to look over your shoulder to make sure. It's like that triple check. That's the reason why. The first thing to ask is like, hey, can you look behind over your shoulder? All right, you need to go. Because some people would be like, oh, I can't look back over my shoulder due to my spine and my back, things like that, which is probably true. It's just very scary to drive anyways. Let's continue on with the news. The Ducks captain Ryan Jetzleff drops $5 million, a Kodo decanted retreat. I'm not sure how it's related to Tustin. I'll look into that. Most likely, sometimes Yahoo Finance takes news and just mixes it up with local news. It just adds the keywords at the bottom when you're on a Tustin. Not sure why, but they do. Okay, here we go. Next thing that's going on, basically about medical raises $500 million, which is basically medical devices. They're starting more funding going into more medical devices. Medical devices for hospitals, basically paid by insurance companies and things like that, which is like a consistent income, better than waiting for someone to knock on your door or buy some services, for example. Whoa, 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 whoa. So other than that, basically, so it looks like there's going to be an NVIDIA show that's coming up, and there's actually people that's camping out right in front of the event. That's what's happening there. Reported by Tech Radar. And that's pretty much it that's happening in Tustin. Other than that, we check out the crime map, and we let you know all the events that's been happening in the next video, in the next post. We'll talk about more about basically what events that's being reported on the crime map, Neighborhood Watch, Neighborhood Scout, all these different websites, even News Alert, and all these basically is having some, and then the Citizen app, all these are having some live alerts of what's happening to the public, that's being given to the public. And if it's the same thing, if it's given to the public, we find a way to send it to the public with fast alerts, subscription, things like that. Right now, everything's free, nothing really is being costed right now. Actually, what's happening is that we're actually losing money more than we're making money. So that's how it usually starts. Now we are hiring for news reporters. Basically, we do looking for people that are looking into being in, going into journalism. And if you're looking into being into journalism, we're looking for news reporters within the Tustin city area. The reason for that is that I realized some other news outlets doesn't cover everything that the public, I mean, they should have the right to know, because news outlets only shows a report and that point of view, possibly not trying to show a point of view, but the way the words are described could show that no matter what, when decisions are made by the public service, it's guaranteed, it's gonna be standing by that decision no matter what it is. So that's why we opened up another news outlet, to have other journalists to get in on it and actually really see what's really going on, because you can tell something strange is going on based on what is happening. For example, when you walk up to a building, you either see a security guard on guard with machine guns, or you see a security guard with just a weapon in the holster, whatever it's called, or you see a security guard without a weapon, just a taser. So that's the level of security, and then there's the level of security that is always not the, I mean, they are overusing the power, but in a way where you would realize that in the streets there's two types of cars. There's cars that are very thin. So the thin cars, or like the smaller cars, that when you turn, it feels like you're turning like a U-turn. So it's like when you turn, it will take a while to go right and left. Then there's cars that when you turn, it takes the whole car to the right, it takes the whole car to the left. And you're talking about a cheap city that barely has an inch compared to a freeway. Well, compared to a freeway where it would be on the line between the right. I can count right now that I'm literally on the edge of the left line, and on the right line I have 2.5, 3 feet. Now in the city you have like an inch, depending on what car. So if you have like a Honda car, you have a good amount of space. But when you have like a very long stretch car, you have very limited space, and that can give some people that small excuse that, hey, you tapped the line. It's on my camera, on my front of my car, so I have to see what's going on. And it's just some nerd business owner that just left his business and getting pulled over for. It's just strange. And that's when the business had to move immediately out of that city, and go back outside and to find out what's really going on, that what makes such behavior to just pull everybody over. Doesn't matter who it is, any suspicious anything. I mean, it's a very something high is going on, and that's when it brought our eyes into the web, into looking into the history of crime and the history of events, and whoa. And that has nothing to do with, oh, it's just people making bad decisions. It's one factor, but then the second factor is housing. When imagine that there's a parking lot and there's a business and a parking lot with 7 spaces. That parking lot can only take 7 cars. That means that store is never gonna have a maximum of more than 7 customers. Excuse me. Possibly 10 for walk-ins, which is like a 5-10% chance that some people take public transportation, but probably won't be going to that store if they're taking public transportation. So long story short, it is what it is. Greatest thing about our Constitution is when it protects people's rights here, but then there's the cool thing is that to be part of it we had to choose one, and then we choose news reporting. Freedom of speech is too loud, too raggedy. It's just not organized. Freedom of religion is whatever, it's cool to have, but not something to use like. And loudness doesn't really work, and it's not supposed to work like that anyways. Long story short, so we chose news reporting, and when the people's eyes are at an area, we want to know more about it. Sometimes there's companies that try to silence that information, and then until we actually experience it, well, it's like it's not as described, basically. Not as described, or not even described at all. It's like a description, a blank description. It's like, it's great. The headline says it's great, but description is blank. So you're not sure, should I buy it, should I not, should I continue, should I do it, should I not? Not sure, 50-50 right, 50-50 left. And when you try it out, then you experience it's like, whoa, something strange is going on. And so far we realized that, yeah, there's about what do I call it? Like basically a shocking amount of crime that's happening, shocking amount of like rentals versus home. There's shocking amount of lack of opportunity to get out, and the force to never get out, and also always to be at that area. And then the taxpayers, basically, who pays the taxes? So the renters do not pay the taxes. Renters pay the rent. The landlord pays the taxes. Therefore, the landlord makes a special access to the keys of people's apartments in the city, and they open doors and make up an excuse, what they call it, welfare check, which is very well used in that area statistically. So that just opens up more eyes on, see, something strange is going on, and hopefully when all this builds up, it'll be submitted. now to the Justice Department so they can hopefully look into it more, because when things is hidden and not being reported, no one looks at it, especially when there's one news outlet that might be not covering but not saying all sides of the story. There's always all sides. Saying one side could be that it's not a cover-up for the second side, but it's like we stand by this decision and this action, by the other action, no matter what. The first decision made the second decision, or the opponent's decision, not acceptable, not valid, and not representable. Therefore, we stand with the first decision, and that's when it starts to become very awkward and strange to understand why. And so that's where Tus-News was born. All right, let's let this motorcycle dude go versus me being near no wrong. So it is what it is. That's really what happened. So that's basically what's going on. And so we'll see you guys in the next video. We'll talk about what's really happening with the crime map. Thank you so much. June 8th. Subscribe to Tus-News. Tus-News. Tus.org. Go ahead and subscribe. We will take care of you. And please, hackers, stop, because we have no money, we have no users or emails, and stop hacking us, even for fun. I think it's illegal. So stop hacking, please. It's just not cool. All you're doing is just creating me work to fix it for free, and even though we don't get paid, you're just making me keep fixing and fixing and fixing, which now I started to make backups instead of every week. It's backups every day, so it's just, I would lose one day. So please just stop. And I'm not making any money, so stop hacking it, please, to any of my domains. Yeah, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.